Hello to Pioneer viewers. We continue to bring you the latest updates on Russia-Ukraine war. As you know, this war is still raging. Both sides are launching intense attacks against each other, and the intensity of the conflict is increasing. And the protracted war between Russia and Ukraine is causing great tensions. That was my phone. Never mind. Tensions and debates in the international arena, and it is clear that this situation will occupy the world agenda for many years to come. The war started with Russia's desire to invade. However, the problems faced by the Russian army in the front line prolonged this conflict and brought it to its current state. The initial strong image of the Russian army turned out to be an illusion. Failing to achieve the desired successes against the Ukrainian army, Russia suffered a huge loss of face, and the escape of the Russian troops was exposed to the eyes of the whole world, which seriously undermined Russia's prestige. At home, public dissatisfaction with the Putin regime is growing. However, the opposition leaders fear for their safety. The situation of the Russian military has become particularly silent. And in the wake of recent scandalous events, a top Russian general has been dismissed from the army. As the fact that had emerged, it had become clear that the Putin administration's own negligence led to the failure of the Russian army. And in order to hide these mistakes, the Kremlin is trying to shift the blame to others. And as the Ukrainian army strikes Russian military targets, the Russian army is changing commanders. Ukrainian troops are reportedly in high morale, while the Russian army is suffering from a serious lack of motivation and disorganization. But as the Pioneer team, we continue to bring you the latest developments in Russia-Ukraine war. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. You know that I also read all of your comments on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments. Tell me in the comments what content you would like to see on the Pioneer channel. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Let's start if you're ready, the Pioneer reports. In recent days, a new one has been added to the list of the dismissals in the Russian army. And since the beginning of the war, Russia has been shaken by the news of the dismissals or disappearance of these top commanders. And at the same time, it is reported that many senior Russian commanders have lost their lives in the Ukrainian attacks. And the most recently dismissed commander was Lieutenant General Sohrab Akhmetov. Akhmetov, while serving as the commander of the Russian 20th Combined Army, was dismissed by a decree that came out of the blue one night. The unit under his command is currently participating in harassment attacks on Russia's Donetsk front towards the eastern city of Liman. With the new cabinet announced by Putin, the defense minister was replaced, and there were many reports that the balance in the Kremlin has shifted. And it is reported that the new defense minister would make major changes in the military command in order to build his own team. And the Russian President Putin is closely following the steps of the new defense minister. The news of the Lieutenant General Akhmetov was dismissal brought a first during the war, and it is considered an important development as it marks the first time that an officer actively commanding Russian forces in Ukraine has been dismissed as part of Russia's dismissal tour. Akhmetov's mistake, in fact, summarized the process that the entire Russian military is going through. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022, Akhmetov is blamed for the failure of the units he commanded to make significant progress in Russia's ongoing offensives on the Kharkiv-Luhansk axis. He has also been implicated in many failures and setbacks on the battlefield. This situation is seen as the reflection of the strategic and operational problems experienced by the Russian army in general. Akhmetov's dismissal can be considered as part of the progress of the changed and renewal in the Russian army. In the process of dismissing and reassigning Russia's top commanders is reshaping the course of the war and hierarchy within the army, according to reports from the Kremlin. The appointment of new defense minister is likely to lead radical changes in Russian military's war strategies and command structure, and this can be interpreted as an effort to adopt a more dynamic and flexible approach in Russia's war strategy. Putin's close monitoring of defense ministers' actions in this new period shows how much importance the Kremlin attaches to this process and how critical the changes are. So last summer, an incident in the Ukrainian-occupied city of Kreminna, Luhansk, brought the name of the dismissed commander back into the spotlight. And this case, Russian troops were the target of a HIMARS strike by Ukrainian forces. Before the attack, the purpose of the Russian troops gathered in the area was quite clear: to listen to Akhmadov's motivational speech. And this attack led to the death or injury of hundreds of Russian soldiers who had gathered to listen to Akhmadov's speech. Leading military expert noted that people stood together for 2 hours waiting for the division commander to speak. Expert emphasized that such prolonged gatherings made soldiers vulnerable to attacks. Following this incident, suspicious and suspensions about the Russian commander began to emerge. In a letter to the governor of Primorskyi Krai, soldiers of the 155th Brigade of the Russian Pacific Fleet Marine Corps said, "We have once again been thrown into the incomprehensible war by General Muradov and his compatriot Akhmadov, so that Muradov can earn bonuses to look good in Garsimov's eyes." And these statements reveal the different interest groups within the Russian army and the influence of politics on the military. Russian sources state that these political interventions are at the root of the military's failure, and these revivals can conflict of interest within the military have led to a gradual weakening of the Russian military potential. Officials state that this situation puts the Russian army at a disadvantage against Ukraine. Following the failed Wuhldar offensive, General Muratov was quickly removed from the unit that he commanded, and it was revealed that then Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu had instructed Muratov to capture Wuhldar at all costs in order to elevate growing criticisms of the Russian military's operations in Ukraine. However, it is widely known that this instruction was not carried out, and this had caused great discomfort in the Russian military command. The ongoing operations of the Ukrainian army are also causing growing unrest within the Russian military. In recent days, major operations carried out by the Ukrainian army, especially in Crimea, that have been dealing heavy blows to the Russian forces. These operations in Crimea are causing both material losses and serious demoralization to the Russian army, and the Ukrainian army has carried out various strategic operations throughout the war. But the latest wave of attacks has dealt the heaviest blow to the Russian army, and the Ukrainian forces, which don't allow the Russian army to recover, are conducting the most successful campaign within their means. And with the support of European countries, the Ukrainian army's campaign is getting stronger every day. But I want to know, what do you think? How do you think the firing of the Russian general will affect the battle line? And what do you think about the problems in the Russian command? Let me know in the comments, because you know that I read and I care a lot about all of your comments.